One of the great things about coming to Lahoma is talking with the state specialist about wheat varieties. And David, you've been talking with producers and really talking with them about the differences in varieties. There's 3 that came out last year. How are those varieties doing?
Yeah, overall it's been just a very tough year. So when we talk a lot on some of these varieties, especially about drought tolerance,
Right.
we are definitely going to put that to the test. And the performance on these 3 varieties, for example, is gonna, did we catch some rainfall? So there's some pockets where these look really good. There are other pockets where they do not look as hot, and that comes down again to a lot of the rainfall. Also a little bit on those freeze injuries that we had earlier part of April, and those varieties, 2 of the 3 here being that earlier maturing variety. So when we have those varieties that are a little more progressed in their development and we get those cold temperatures, we start increasing our susceptibility, or how much damage we can do to those plants under those freezing conditions.
We've focused on these 3. Are there other varieties that you've seen across the state that you're telling producers that are maybe looking better than others?
Yeah, you bet. And this is all going to come down, and I know I always kind of beat around the bush on this particular question, but it really boils down to what is your type of management? Right. Are you dual purpose? Are you grain only? It depends on when did we catch some of those rains, and what is that management system that we have currently. So for example, a place where we had these varieties under grazing, those more dual purpose varieties at the moment are going to be the ones that are going to stand out a little bit more. For example, here you have like a Smith's Gold, something like a Bentley or a WB 4458, and SY Monument, those types of varieties.
So right now, a lot of the wheat varieties are some are looking alike, some are not. Is there a dark horse in this race right now?
You bet, there could be, and we've got an example here of Lahoma where we've got going to have pretty good yield potential here overall. And to go along with your comment, as you scan across these, a lot of these varieties look really well, and that's one reason why I beat around the bush on that question on what varieties are really poking out, because this is going to be a year, for example, in particular, those varieties that are going to have a lot better drought tolerance and maybe escape the freeze a lot better than other varieties, who are able to get tillers and be able to produce heads from those tillers, because we've got a lot of wheat fields out there to where you scan across the field and it doesn't look too bad. In some cases it's not going to look great overall, but it doesn't look too bad. But when you walk out in that field, it's definitely a lot thinner than what we would like to see in terms of the number of heads. So to go along with your comment there, the dark horse, there could be that variety that's able to put on those heads, and then who's going to be able to finish this race. These warm temperatures, these 95-degree days, and then the wind that we've got here. So those varieties that are going to be able to finish better under these conditions are going to be the ones most likely to rise to the top.
You travel across the state looking at wheat. Overall, are we ahead of schedule, or are we behind schedule from where we should be?
Yep, so getting into when we were into heading, and I've heard this from a number of producers as well, kind of on average, the number I've heard from the producers, about maybe 10 days behind when we were getting into the heading phase, and that was across the state. In terms of comparing that to when we take our heading notes, we were definitely in that 10 days to 14 days behind average. Now that's not to say that harvest is going to end up being 10 or 14 days later. With these 95-degree days, that can definitely help shrink that gap, shorten that grain fill period, and it may end up being to where we end up having more of we start harvest more on an average time.
Okay, thank you much, David. And for more information and a link to his blog, go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.